What's up, folks? I'm out, by the way. I need to do something with my hair here. This has got like got it all pulled back, and then I got like this weird Clark Kent vibe with the like cowlicks in the front that refuse to grow any longer than this. I need to get it cut again. Ah. But we're back with the what would I call it? What would I call this? The custom weird bootleg Pokemon series. So the idea being basically I draw literally, like, or physically, out of a bag, take 3 Pokemon, of these very messed up, very, goofy looking bootlegs that I ordered like 75 of forever ago. And based off of that, and or just inspired by whatever random Pokemon that I pulled, I give them real life traits, sort of. Sometimes it's a different trait. Sometimes it's based off of their type, like a rock. I've done like a sedimentary rock type. So overall, it's about as much of a grab bag as this is. So, but at that, let's just hop right into it and grab a couple of Pokemon to play around with. I've done like 5 other videos of this, and I've got like 20 something to go. So. Actually, probably exactly 20. I think I mentioned at some point or another that it would be exactly 25 at one point. So, I guess we shall see. And first victim. I mean, subject. Transrite Absol! Enhance! This is a Mega Absol! This is so cool. I remember when Megas were first, like, teased, and it was one of my first drawings that I posted online. Was fan art of Mega Absol, and I'm thinking that, like, oh, they'll evolve outside of battle. Her wing is broken. But yes, I drew a winged Mega Absol as if she were protecting some baby Absols. That's not necessarily how it works, but it could still be. It could still be. I'm very happy I haven't seen haven't seen her in a while. Absol is definitely one of my absolutely most favorite Pokemon. So sorry. Alright. Our second subject, victim, Pokemon. Ooh, another Totodile! This one is... Enhance. This guy is almost the same, but no, I mean, he's derpier than I mean, sort of. He's darker. So, as you can see, this is the one that we've already done, this light blue one. And I'll enhance that as well. And this is the one that we recently picked. And it's quite a bit darker, and it has the black outlines of its eyes. I'll get you two mixed up. I didn't realize I had more than one Totodile in here. Final subject for the day. Venusaur. Oh no, his face is so derpy. Enhance! And he's so tiny, too. The details aren't too bad on this guy, just the paint job's a little off. I think this is also a Mega. I want to say this is a Mega Venusaur. I could be wrong, but it's got the flower on the head. I think that's the Mega. So we got 2 Mega Pokemon and 1 first stage evolution. Alright. I have no clue what I'm going to do with these guys, so I'm probably going to hop over to Speed Paint voiceover, and I'll tell you what I figured out there. See ya. So, starting out with the Mega Absol, this was probably the fastest I've ever hashed out a body. Absol, especially Mega Absol, is like ingrained into my artistic DNA. It was one of the first digital pieces I ever made. I will admit, both Absol and Mega Absol, little edgy. So I decided to lean into a bit for that design. I didn't even notice initially, but whoever painted the figurine took some kind of creative liberties, because Mega Absol doesn't actually have any color on its wings. Hey, fooled me. But it did inspire me toward a concept that probably dates me a little. I decided to make them a clone Pokemon. Now, this is not a game concept, unless you play Pokemon Go, apparently, but it was introduced in the first Pokemon movie, Mewtwo Strikes Back, which I think got a revamp recently, so doesn't date me entirely. Okay. A few people pointed out as well that some of the variations I do are available in PokeFarm, which is like a fan Pokemon virtual pet website. I did actually play it, although it's been a hot minute, and I believe they also had clone varieties there too, so more points for PokeFarm. Basically, though, when Mewtwo in the movie cloned Pokemon, they came out a little different physically. They had some strange markings, mainly like stripes and spots. I assume it was to differentiate them or make them look more like the idealized form or something like that. I also just want to quickly point out that yes, though they were the fully evolved starter Pokemon, the first Pokemon that Mewtwo cloned were the fully evolved versions of the very first Pokemon he met in the short film prior to the movie Mewtwo Origins. He was supposed to forget them and he didn't! A part of him didn't! Totally not crying again. But yeah, I decided to make the Absol itself shiny as well and added some pink stripes to the wings and body. Now he's extra edgy. Maybe this particular clone was created to be a Mega all the time. To me, he's almost like the physical representation of those Pokemon people will hack into their games, making like genetically perfect shiny Pokemon to go decimate the meta with. His name is Nephilim, by the way. Next up, we have our second Totodile in a row for these videos. Genuinely, I do not remember there being 2 Totodiles in this assortment, and it's a wild that I essentially got them one right after the other. This left me stumped toward what to actually do, so I went back to look up some more reptile varieties, and I did actually find one I liked, but before I get into that, I just want to briefly mention the pose. Initially, I thought, well, I'll just do another kind of classic side angle, but then I thought, wait, what does Totodile look like from the front? So I decided to challenge myself and have it looking straight ahead. I landed on this, frankly, to me, adorable pose where they look just so full of energy and whimsy. I'm super happy with it. Now, onto the pattern. I found out that reptiles, and this is actually including crocs and gators, can have a mutation called hypomelanism. It's basically what happens when there's less than the normal amount of melanin being produced, though it seems a little bit different than maybe piebald or albinism because it lightens like smaller areas, creating sort of like islands of color between rivers of lighter white or lighter patterning. Initially, the color I chose for the base was too dark, but that actually worked out in my favor because the little islands seem to be darker around the edges a lot, which you'd think it would be the opposite, but I guess they're still doing what a normal pattern would do. It's just that they have those little rivers of white or lack of pigment around them. So I filled in the center with a more Totodile looking teal, and the result is a pattern that looked almost like waves on the beach with a little white sea foam surrounding them. So I decided to name her Seafoam. She's super cute. I think she and Ghost would be friends, and she's like that bubbly sweet to Ghost's attempt at being scary. Finally, we have the Mega Venusaur, and yes, it is a Mega. I feel like especially Kanto starters Megas were just someone's attempt at remaking the original designs. Like, Mega Venusaur just has a bigger forest on its back, more markings on its face to tie to the previous forms, and another flower on its head. Like, it's enough to be visibly different, but it also just feels like how someone would try and quote-unquote fix Venusaur, almost. This one definitely took me the longest to sketch in line, very detail-heavy Pokemon. Now, I seem to be keeping up with a trend of accidental themes, and all of these Pokemon seem to have wound up very spotty? Because I decided on a variegated pattern, also spelled it wrong in the speed paint, fix it in post, which is basically just the plant version of piebald and albinism. The plant doesn't produce as much chlorophyll for some reason or another and just turns like a lighter green or even white, and sometimes whole leaves or sometimes it's just spots or like a camo pattern. Variegated plants can actually be quite desirable among plant collectors, I guess. Very, very expensive. So I assume this Venusaur is very prized. I named her Snowdrop because it kind of looks like she's covered in freshly fallen snow. Maybe all of these Pokemon are actually the same trainer's Pokemon, and they endeavor to sort of collect cool, spotty Pokemon. Seafoam was probably their most recent adoption. But these are my Pokemon from this week. It's been a few good weeks since I've done this. I just had a little influx of other things I wanted to play around with. But I still have plenty more little bootlegs to base these designs on in the future. Let me know what you think of this little assortment in the comments, or any other little fun art challenges you'd like to see me do in the future. And of course, you can subscribe so you can see those when they happen. I post pretty consistently each week now, Speed Paint Saturdays. At that though, I'll leave this here, and I'll see y'all next time. Of this little assortment in the comments, or any other little fart